What's up, guys? Enkiri here, and welcome to vlog number 89. I got some pretty good stuff for you guys today. We kicked things off with a pretty solid 5x5 on back squats, which I followed up with some heavy barbell carries, and then to finish things up, I've got some random power snatch footage from pretty recently. I got rained out from one of my sprint sessions just like a week or two ago, so I decided to mess around with the snatch a little bit that day just to put in some work on an explosive exercise. But starting off with the squats here, I'm up to 345 pounds on these, and I've still just been running up the linear progression on the 5x5. And for the most part, this session was pretty solid work. I had a couple minor hiccups here and there just regarding technique, which kind of slowed a couple of the reps down, but it was never a strength issue, just a technical issue, because this is the lowest bar positioning I've ever tried using on the squat, and I'm still really not used to it. And frankly, I don't like it or enjoy it. For years, I've squatted with a high bar style or a mid bar style, and I think that for me, the most natural feeling technique is when the bar is resting around the middle of my traps. Going to a true high bar is just a little too mechanically inefficient, but going low bar is just really awkward to me, honestly, and so I've never really given it an earnest effort over the years. But I like to think that I did this time around, and I can kind of feel the benefits of it to a degree. I think that when I do it correctly, the reps do feel more efficient and they do have better leverage. But overall, I just really don't like the way it feels on my body. It just doesn't feel like a squat anymore, to be honest. It feels more like a weird deadlift thing. I don't really know, but it's kind of taken away my desire to do back squats. So I did end up doing a couple more sessions with it after this one here. But at this point, I've kind of decided I'm going to dump it and either switch exclusively to front squats for now or just go back to my usual style of squatting in this slot because I just don't see the point. Maybe I'll compete in powerlifting again and maybe I won't. Who knows? I don't care right now. But even if I do, so what? Why force myself to train a movement that I don't enjoy and that probably has less of a return on investment in terms of carryover into other endeavors when I've already achieved a high level at that sport without ever resorting to low bar squats anyway? Even if I could master this movement and hit a new lifetime best 1 rep max squat that way, I don't know that I care to. I just feel like at this point for me, it's really starting to become a game of trade-offs. If I wanted to try to squat 550 pounds without wraps, for instance, I probably would have to master the low bar squat because it is more efficient than the way I usually squat. But then do I really get anything else out of it? Does it help me with my athletic goals and overall strength and mobility? Or does it just make me a better low bar squatter with more tight and beat up hips? And that's pretty much the extent of it. Impossible to say, obviously, but I have an inkling that that is likely to be the case. So at this point in my life, I have to say that given the return that I would get on that investment, which is to say pretty much absolutely nothing, it's probably not worth it for me just to add a few pounds onto my personal best squat. I'd rather just go back to my old style of squatting, even if that means I'll never hit much over 500 pounds again. Anyway, after the squats, I knocked out some loaded carries just with the barbell on my back. I'm really liking these at the moment though. I'm still deciding whether or not I should invest in a yoke, but I've also been looking at different timing systems for my sprint work because I would rather be able to time my sprints in real time than have a yoke because that would just be awesome data to have access to. Now, I'm only comparing these two expenditures because they would both be semi-large purchases. And well, I'm no Bruce Wayne of the fitness industry, so I have to ration my spending somewhat. I can't just go buying the farm, you know? I'm sure I'll get both of them eventually, but I'd rather have the timing system kind of ASAP because I'm doing a lot of sprints right now. I just need to find the right one. But if I can't, then I'll just go with the yoke instead. Anyway, though, these carries are about 50 yards in total. I'm taking the bar out of the rack down to the end of the driveway, which is about 25 yards, and then turning around and taking it back. I actually end up getting up to 455 pounds for a trip of 50 yards, which was pretty freaking brutal, to be honest. That was a tough one. The trip down is never that hard, but man, after you fucking turn around with that bar on your back, it feels so much more difficult to make the trip back to the rack. But I don't have enough bumpers and I don't have a yoke, obviously. So at that point, I don't really have a choice but to walk the damn thing back to the rack, unless I want to crack the cement in my driveway, which I'm not really keen on that idea. It's good stuff though. It really makes you work in a different kind of way than what most people are used to, especially after knocking out 28 reps of squats. Your legs definitely start to let you know what's up when you've got 455 pounds on your back and you're taking it for a trip that's half the length of a football field. I really wish I had a longer straightaway that I could work with on these though, because if I didn't have to turn around with the bar on my back, I think I could do a hell of a lot more weight. Still, don't be surprised if I make an attempt at 500 pounds in the near future. I haven't done these in a few weeks now because I've switched my focus more onto sprinting, and I've actually been doing some form of sprinting at least 3 times a week as of late, but I always go back and forth, and eventually I'll get back to where I'm doing loaded carries several times a week, and I plan to hit some pretty big numbers there when I do. And finally, we've got the hang power snatch. This is from a different training session than the previous 2 exercises that I just showed you guys. Like I mentioned earlier, I got rained out of a sprint day a few weeks ago, so I just went out to the garage and knocked out a few sets here just to get in some form of explosive work in place of the sprints that I was missing. So I just decided I would knock out some sets of 5 and just keep ramping up the weight until I got to a max set there. I don't think I had ever attempted to even do 5 reps on this exercise before, so I wasn't really sure where I'd be able to go with it. But once I did a couple sets, I kind of told myself 185 for 5 was gonna be the goal, and I ended up hitting it pretty decently actually. I could probably take it a little bit higher with some practice, but I actually haven't done this exercise in months. I haven't done a normal hang snatch since I think September of last year, which was when I hit the 100 kg hang power snatch PR. And then after that, I did a little bit of work with the high pull / power snatch combo that I'm so fond of. But that was it. And that was a few months ago at this point. So my strength on this exercise has actually held up pretty nicely given that pretty long hiatus, which is always good to know. But yeah, pretty good stuff overall, and I think that's about all I got for now, guys. Please be sure to like the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and definitely leave me some love in the comments down below. Keep training hard, and I will catch you guys next time.